Alright, let's get this started. I hope this work out because this thing here is acting funny. You know, the camera came on and then it went off. So I had to restart everything. Let's see if it go through. Still don't have no picture, or I don't see no picture. There we go. Alright, now I could go live. Alright, let's get back to the studio. Alright, everybody, what's going on? How's everybody doing? Um, we're gonna continue with what happens when you die, part 2. You know, to get more into it, because I didn't get to read any of the questions that was being said in the comments, so I'm going to go into some of those. Plus, on top of it, I want to respond to a lot of things that was asked in those questions. And we're going to get a little deeper into what happens when you die, because at the end, it just seemed like I didn't fulfill the questions of what happens with you when you die. So I'm going to see if I could do it in this shot around, you know, get more into detail. So let me see what's going on before I start. Just checking on the studio joint. Alright. Peace and blessings. I saved you and sound good. Alright, great. It's good to know that. Thank you. I appreciate that, you know. That's forbidden knowledge. Forbidden knowledge, peace and blessings. It's good to see you. You know, thank you for tuning in. You know. Alright, so we're gonna chop it up and get into this real quick. So first I want to just get any questions out the way, if anything, anybody want to ask anything, because like I said, we didn't get to chop it up last time, and it was a few questions that came into asking, and I just wanted to get those out the way. But you know, basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get into some of the teachings as far as, you know, the parts that we didn't catch, more details of the actual process from the moment of death, what actually occurred, and just the actual rituals of what took place in the past when the dead was buried or they was getting rid of the body, so we know the difference between what they did then and what they do now, so we could differentiate and see why was a new way of doing it, or what happened between the old and new. So by us seeing how it was originally done by the ancients and able to compare it to the modern way they're doing it, we could see if it's affecting us in a positive way or negative way. Are we doing the right rituals? Are we being duped into something that we don't know about? So these will help you to understand these mysteries, and maybe you'll be more interested in learning. Peace and blessings. Grand Rising, S. Croker, Universal Contents. Good to see you again. Yes, definitely. LK, peace and blessings. It's good to see you too. All right, God, thanks for tuning in. So, like I was saying, you know, I just wanted to get the questions out the way so we could get those going. But if not, then I'm gonna just get into the teachings and we get started. So let's do that now. I wanted to tell you more about the actual process, because I guess one of the key questions is what really happens when you die. You know, we want to know, I guess, from the brutal death to the closing of the eyes and the unconsciousness. What happens right there? Well, it's the basics. If I didn't tell you, you have other bodies. You don't have just your physical body, which your consciousness reside in at the moment you're in your conscious state, your regular world. But you have another body, which is called the astral body, which is actually the body you go in when you go to sleep and dreaming. But in between the astral body, you also have an emotional body, you have a shadow body, you have a mental body. It's different bodies. Look at bodies like different bubbles of thoughts. Every time you have a thought and you think of something, it has a bunch of rules or algorithms that govern that thought, and that thought could be a bubble. That's what it is. So you got a bunch of bubbles that's a whole consolidated into one bubble. So, but each bubble itself has its own law to it. So that basically gives you an idea now of how you transcend from one bubble or one sphere or chakra to another one, to another one, to another one, with sub ones being the main one to take you from one state of existence to another state of existence. So you would look at this physical body, take you around in this state of existence, but once you leave, your physical body is gone. The next state of body is your emotional body. Your emotional body is going to take you to your astral body. So boom, say you pass away. The first thing that's going to happen is you're not going to feel the pain like how they say it. Like say you something brutal happened, you get hacked up. The moment that death comes upon you, you're not gonna feel pain like asphyxiation when you see somebody passing away or getting killed, and they get to the point like say you stabbing them and they're asphyxiating. They're not feeling pain no more right there. The body itself is jerking and reacting to trying to catch air, trying to get its last of whatever. But the person inside the body now is already overwhelmed with chemicals. Chemicals come on that to that person inside the body, and they start to fade away into the body, but they don't feel no pain no more. Nor do they feel the hacking. It could be punching in the face, stomping, or whatever. They don't feel that no more. You only could feel up to a certain intensity or level of pain. Then that threshold is gone. But your body also produce I don't know the medical word right now, but endorphins that actually counters all type of pain. So the more pain you encounter, it's the same like your magnetic field or the Earth's magnetic field. When the sun throws solar flares, it intensifies the magnetic field and respond to the amount of intensity of the flare that is pushed up on it. So it's the same thing. If you put your finger in fire and it hurts the first time, the next time you go to do it, your body's going to make chemicals that you're not going to feel the pain. So thus you have people like fire walkers who could walk on coal because their bodies start developing antigens that actually counters the pain. So it's the same thing. The first state of dying, when a person get that fatal shot, they actually is transcended to another world now, and their pain is, but the threshold level is gone, and so they start to float off, and they become more, you could say, in pleasure and bliss than pain, than actually feeling what is happening on the external part of the body. It's the ultimate drug come over them that just covers them in such love, feeling of fullness and everything that they forget about what is actually occurring outside the body. Now it's an internal journey. So once they start going in, the first thing is going to happen is self-recognition. Everything that you ever did is going to start coming to you. You know, you're no longer going to care about your car, your house. You get these demons, dude. Though I'm gonna explain that one to you. That's why I call myself the demon catcher. And we have that problem here in society, especially on third world countries. We are all under attack by demons, which is your basic Illuminati. But the concept is to transcend now into the spirit world. But if that was the case, we'll be in the spirit world while we're in our physical body. The process is a bunch of like you could see, I call them magnetic lines. They're magnetic flux lines that you see if you just see very basically bar lines of magnetic fields. But in each one is a world that you have to transcend through, with the cap off being a higher world. So all human beings is capped off from the spirit world. First off of top, else we'll remember we'll be doing what we're supposed to be doing. So our first thing is to get back our memory. So when we try to get back our memory now, this is what we're doing now with ascension, meditation, because we're not who we're programmed to be. We're just a product of. So when we do ascension, you become that primordial being, your soul memory, your memory that you always had, your primordial subconscious memory takes over. So now, say you first die, so you're going through sub levels. First sub level is the moon. So you go into the moon first. But how do you get to the moon? Your emotional body, like when you die, you start to reflect upon everything. You're encapsulated now in that euphoric feeling, or you're in the bosom of God, is what they say. And once that comes in now, get out of here. Once that comes in now, you're now going to start reflecting upon everybody that you did harm to, all the wrongs for some reason you're always guilty inside. You can't help it. Even if nobody caught you, sometime you did something and just going, uh-huh, yeah. You be like, what? I didn't take that. I didn't do it. And you tell on yourself. We have this natural guilt that is built into our system. So that's the first thing we reflect upon is our own guilt that we've done to people. And that gonna attack you now with just, you could say, within that time period of dying, it seemed like an infinite amount of time to that person going through that reflection. The first part of dying, as soon as you meet death, you get emotional and all your reflectiveness start coming back. You all of a sudden your memory becomes so efficient that you remember all the way to the day you was born. You're going backwards now. You start reversing in time, and you pause in between upon those people you hurt. You remember, I tell you, you're guilty now. You're feeling guilty of all the things you didn't get to accomplish, all the people you hurt. So once you start going backwards, just take a pause to amends the times that you had fucked somebody over. Your ego fucked somebody over. You and your ego is going to go on a shadow journey. It's quick, but for you, it's going to seem infinite. Now, while this is going on, you have demons, shadows, all these other splits, your personalities that reside in you as who you are start coming out now. They leave out through the mouth. The Egyptian called it the opening of the mouth. This is very important for us to go because we're going to read all that when we get into the actual documents that support everything that I'm saying. Now, you're going to see that everything comes out of you and it's your demons. So you're going to think you're being in hell, you're being attacked, but it's not. This is all was stored inside you, the compressiveness that you needed to sustain you in this world. A lot of regrets, a lot of hurt is being held by spirits, or you cause splits within yourself or worlds within your worlds that was actually real. Now they come out as thought forms. So you experiencing a whole bunch of spirits coming out. You and they're just laying there. So right after all this now happened, this is when now you're alone and you're in the moon. The thing now, you're alone, but you think of what you expect yourself to be. So say you was a barber. That was your dream job. All of a sudden, after you pass this stage, you will see yourself in a barber chair cutting hair. Like if nothing never happened. Why? Because anything you love to do, your passion, your desire, that's what you focused on. That's where your soul is at. Your soul follow your desire. That's why a lot of people's soul is chasing relationships. You understand that they don't have their soul with them. It's outside their body, catching them through the law of attraction, whatever they want. So whatever you desire, your soul get it for you. So most of us soul ain't in our body, one. And so we go now and say you love barbering. You'll just be there cutting hair, but you're not on the earth. You're not in the barbershop. You're in the moon. And the moon work as subtle energy. So it's whatever you think, it will happen. It's like you're free body wise, you're lighter, you're in a better situation than being on earth. You have to work for what you have to do, you have to do everything. But it gives you a surreal experience that whatever you love doing, that's what it seems like you're going to continue doing. You won't know that you're dead. That won't come to you at all. You would just think you're going about whatever you love to do. So once you get to the moon and you start experiencing this takes on a different tone now. You start having flash lines. Flash lines happen with the barber thing. Like scary shit just start happening because you're still in God's lesson. The moon is lessons. It's not there to actually give you a home. It's temporary. And how it's gonna work is like as you think you're there barbering and you're cutting hair, the person you cutting might turn into a creature or some nasty shit and it just flash for a second to give you a hint that your world isn't what you think. So you're gonna be experiencing a lot of this more than you actually gonna be cutting hair and thinking you're good now for the rest of your life. And so once these start coming, these is your come, let's waking up, wake up. You see what's going on here. And slowly, as you start to do that, it's like a sheath of you. That sheath that was attached to barbering, you come out of it like a serpent, a snake, and that stays there, a shadow, or you could say a stamped time period now permanently staying in Akashic Records, which you having access to that side of yourself if you could leave it. Then you come up another level higher. And if you had any attachments on this level, you're gonna be stuck there. But the whole journey is to actually leave all your attachment and go straight to spirit world. Spirit world up here is mind, meaning there's no body, no form to it. It's just mind. Whatever you think, instantly you're that. You're that. If you, it's gonna be a fucked up day. You the fucked up day. It's gonna be good today. You the good. Whatever you think. So in spirit world, this is why Buddhism, every art teach you not to think. Nirvana, silence, so you won't turn into something up there. Or you, some people is sexual and freaky and get up there and see other things and turn into some freak predator or something that is not supposed to be up there. What's up there is everything that's knowing already. There's no questions to ask. It's no not knowing. It's a knowing thing, and your mind control what you become. So if you think something, that's what you're gonna become. So we don't, people, once you pass spirit level, you pass thinking. All thinking is on lower levels down here, which each level of it, you thinking you the barber, and then it show you you're not. So now you move from there, but you think you're this now, and it show you you're not. So then you move up to here, then you think you're this and you're not. Then up here you say, fuck it, I'm tired of thinking. I'm not thinking no more. I'm just being. And you just float up into spirit world now. And this is where you're just energy, electricity. Spirit is electricity. Inside of you, you're digital at your core. You're really digital. Spirit is digital. That's why they call it phosphorus. All these other names for it, because now you become everything at one time, everywhere at one time. You're here. You're everywhere. This is what it means to be spirit at one moment. Atonement, and also you don't know right now. You flashline and you're not really here. If you go and look, how many times does a human being flash in and out of this reality? I think you're flashing about 70 times per second, 1 millionth of a second or something. You're not constantly here. You're flashing in and out. So once you get to understand that, it's the same thing. You control the megahertz of how you flash here by what your thoughts is, how your vibratory frequency is, and it also resonate with your organs. So once you know that, you're inside something like purgatory. You're inside a hologram, but this hologram works off of what you think. Whatever you think, you're gonna see. So if you think you're in heaven and you can think Jesus, that's what you're gonna see. But that don't mean shit, because it's a thought form. Your job is to ascend past what you was. That's it. To go back up to remember one thing. You're the same thing that came down here, and the one same thing. This is the hardest part now that is going to be hard for people to understand. But it was easy for the Egyptians, the Chaldeans, and for you to get an example of this, you will have to understand why they never really left their mother's name on tombs, like, yo, my aunt is this, and my cousin is this, and my person is that. They only left their self and the deeds that they did, not even their real name. They called themselves, so you couldn't really trace them. That's because of the simple fact, inside they knew that if they're this person in Egypt as a soul, they was probably in Lemuria the same person as a soul, and probably in before that as a caveman as a soul, and the Neanderthal as a soul, and older periods as a soul. So you say, okay, which image would represent me? The me in my primordial period, me in Lemuria, me in modern time. You got three different images because the soul reincarnates. So you can't attach himself to his feature, the image of himself. That's why our ancestors never worshiped image. It was illegal for them to look at an image, take a picture, or draw an image. Image started coming in when the printing press came into view, which was a big thing because most people rejected the idea of printing press because it was illegal to even put words on paper, because words back then wasn't words like we write letters. Words was actually only magical books, mystical books that people translated and passed on. And so when you wrote it, it had a magical significance to it. People used to take the words of books and put it in water and drink the water, and the magical spell will work on them. So a lot of people started taking the sacred books and making it and putting it up so that regular people can't get to it, because they was eating the words, putting it in water, burning the ashes and drinking it, because it was all about spells. We lost those type of knowledge now today and don't understand. We think words are still not spelling us, but it is. Think about it. So when we understand all that part, then you understand that the Egyptians, all of them never really used themselves with cognomens. What we call cognomens is names. First of all, their first name would have been the name of their father. And that's it. They don't have a last name. That's where you get nomen and cognomen from, which is the government made that up to tie you to a Christian era. You know, when you hear Reynolds, Williams, Lewis, that's all names that tied to the Christian era. When you hear these names, you'll know it. Now, if I say Haru, if I say names like Akhenaten, these names now tie it to the BC era. So you got cognomen that tie you to modern time through your slave master, and then you have pre-cognomen names that don't have none. They just be like, if your father name was Ben, they would just name you now. Like, say if you had attributes of, like, say killing animals, very fast running. Your name will be fast runner of Ben. Your father will be of Ben. That's why you used to hear that word of the father. They never had a last name. It'll just be Arthur of Joe, David of James, stuff like that. So when we added cognomen, we put the slave name and put corporation in them. You became the straw man into it. Why these is important is because when we attach ourselves to these things, we leave ourselves held on for demons. But the Egyptians, when they did those things, this is the whole point when I was saying when you ascend back up, they remembered there was the one God. This is what y'all fucked up at. It's only one person in this world. Y'all have characteristics and characters, personalities that was implemented in you, but you're really one person. That comes down. This God who have many emanations. So on your way back up, you start remembering your God. So you're not going to a whole bunch of people in one thing. You're going to a one, the source. And then you remember, oh shit. And once you remember, you get now to actually realize you're actually taking today's information, all that's everything, bring it into yourself, then bring it up to transcend on a higher level so an evolution could take place down here. It's like now the best of the best and the smartest of the smartest is going to go up. Everybody else of lower quality is going to be destroyed and cycled over in a new recreation, but the higher ones is going to survive and repopulate them. But they're going to be the one to remember their God self and go up and tag God, like boom, here's the new information. So boom, now everything get re-destroyed and redone over with now an evolutionary period. You don't have nothing to do with that. That's epochs. That's how we've been. That's how you get your first root race, your second race, your third race. Well, we're up to the fifth race. Diversity is what's in nature. Nature's job is to always evolve. And if you don't evolve with nature, nature kill you. Nature get rid of you. And that's what's been happening to a lot of people with the earth speeding up, the pulse of the sun speeding up faster, and we're not acquiring knowledge. We're just living off of the energies that is being produced onto us, which make us chase things and want more material things. So when you're talking about death, you could get capped off in the spirit world and stuck there infinitely because you didn't know this knowledge that I just told you. That's why you hear the word apotheosis. That's why you hear ascension, initiation, to remind you that you're not separate from this and this. The one I, the one. Everything is the one. And so that's why Morpheus came to warn in the movie The Matrix, Neo, that his name ain't Thomas Anderson. That's you. You think your mother named you and that's who you are. He said, no, your name is Neo. So he went from Thomas Anderson, and then remember, once he remembered he was Neo, which is a short term for neophyte, meaning you're now being initiated, or Morpheus would have been his soul. And him himself as Neo is the astral body, with Thomas Anderson now sleeping at the desk, having a dream with his astral body, Neo, going to meet his soul, Morpheus, who's going to teach him that he's God, the one. The same like in the movie with Jet Li, the one. He goes around kicking his own ass. All the fucked up characteristics about him, they're showing you in this metaphysical way so he could be the one. Just like the black guy tell him, what are you trying to be, God? They tell you. That's what he said. You trying to be God. He said, yeah. Because he's not breaking no laws, killing nobody else but himself. All his splits, all the other ones of him in different realities, he brought it into him, which made him the most powerful. So this is what you have to learn. And this is what's called third way, the light working, the right hand path. It's all the same science. It's something we don't know, but the elite know. You hear George Washington took his hypothesis. He wanted to be God, so he's their ruling man. It's the same like if you was to take Moses, Abraham, one of them. One of y'all got to step it all the way up so the nation could rise. One of them got to get to God, and the ark goes to them. The ark goes to that group of people or that nation. So all societies that you see certain nation flourishing, they went through the process with the Jews keeping it a secret from everybody, and it's through mysticism because you have to take a spiritual journey. All this is out of society, so we don't know anything about it. And the ones who do know now make you pay to learn what you're supposed to know. Something that was offered to every human being, or you was repulsed, thrown out into the wilderness to live like a savage. So once you know that, you understand now the initiation without seeing it some big mystery or something. It's for you to get your soul. That's all I mean. And the movie, The Matrix, show you that. So Morpheus now his soul come. Morpheus too is a Greek word for soul if you didn't know. And so once you realize his soul came, it started breaking down Thomas Anderson from thinking who he think he is. He go see all gatekeepers. Everybody was blocking him. Just like in this world, we're all being blocked. And that's why we have energy block in the body too. Blockage is showing you, listen, you capped off, son, you God. You got to catch what's going on so you can get it. Jesus tell y'all the same shit. Ye are gods, or from off of David. But if we don't get it, we feel like we're supposed to humble ourselves and be these characters that is being abused by government or feel somebody's coming to save us. When in reality you say, I'm my mother's child. So if my mother is a human being, I'm a human being. But then if you say, but wait, your mother is God's child. So if she's God's child, she's a God too. We don't look at it like that. But Alexander the Great, who took over the world, called himself a god. He's a demigod. All great. Napoleon said the same thing. Because it actually worked like that. Even Hitler said the same thing. It actually worked like that. It's a power that comes with it. So the Egyptians tried to empower people by showing y'all this in the Book of Dead. So did all our ancestors. That's why they had great kingdoms. Money is not something you go chase. Money comes with success of you completing yourself. It's a gift from the gods. It's not something you have to go out and chase. That's not, if you have to go chase it, work for it, or it's not a gift that you didn't deserve it. You do what you're supposed to do in life, and it's like somebody who donate, somebody who give you a super chat or something because they appreciate something from you. That's what you give. That's all you could do is give. That's why you hear the Egyptians say, I don't offend nobody in their funeral texts, and their funeral is really about their, you would say it sounds selfish or ego. I didn't hurt nobody. I didn't offend nobody. I didn't do anybody. Please let me have a safe journey back through. That's what you got to do, a safe journey back through, because those you offend become your karma, and you have to pay dues. You have to stop off. To give you a great understanding of it, when we go into start doing rituals and messing with gods of the Orisha, gods of different religious cults and all this stuff, these is the forces of those magnetic fields. They control it. Like if it was the balloon itself, you calling up on them, or you make them do tasks for you, thinking you following Google or what people say you do that, but you don't realize they're the ones who were sent here to wake you up. That's like Morpheus. One of them is Morpheus, your soul. And so you use it now, bargain with it, not knowing that at the end you owe on your way back home. When you're going back up, a lot of people get caught up and stuck someplace else because they use that force. So that force got jurisdiction over them on their way back up. It's like when you go to sleep, You could go to sleep and have a peaceful sleep, or you could go to sleep pissed off about something or got into an altercation with something and dream it. That force, it fucks with you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It has jurisdiction over you now. It's the same thing once you leave this world. There's things that have jurisdiction over you. They say you can't take nothing material with you, but you do take your bad habits. You do take your feelings. You do take your emotions. You take all the stuff you were supposed to drop off here. If you don't drop them off here, you're making detours on your way. Mad detours that could have you for infinite time. The time that it's supposed to be written, and I study mad scriptures. That's all I do for a living. Study scriptures so I can help communities, help society, not help them temporarily. Help them from inside out change themselves and actually become these successful things that we see already progressing in society and don't know how they're doing it. They'll tell you, oh, it's a mystery. No, it's not a mystery. This is the secret. You understand what I'm saying? So once you know this part of it, the journey now is about fear, 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 fear. Everything is fear. We watch so much movies, so much TVs. We fear, and our fear make us make bad choices. Listen to me. When you choose to do something, this is how God worked, the gods. You choose to do it. You created the choice, so you choose to do it. But if I come and I give a sensation, an impulse to make you react, no matter how you reacted, whether it be good or bad, it don't count. It's forfeited because you did it out of the act of. Just anything you do out of, it forfeits that what you're doing, the action that you're doing. So if I tell you fuck you and you go fuck you back, you forfeit your fuck you because I made you say that. I draw that out of you. You didn't draw that out yourself. You didn't create that. I created the situation and made you do that. So it's all me that's in control of it. So that's why I said you can't let things draw you out, make you react. You do what you're gonna do. So if you was gonna tell somebody fuck you, you already had that premeditated. So I'm gonna tell them fuck you. And then no matter what he said, it doesn't influence on you. Your five senses don't react to it. You just do what you're gonna do. Same thing. If you're gonna give somebody some money, you just give it to them. Don't expect something in return. Not even a thank you, because that's what you were supposed to do. You created the situation, and that's what you're supposed to have done if the ancestors put it in you. But for us, we look for a situation to because we have a premeditated agenda, and so when we do our actions, we expect something in return. And expectations is the worst thing to have inside of you because when you have expectations, it's like you premeditate the whole situation and the outcome of it. That's a sin. That's the worst thing you could do. So if you're gonna do something, just do it. Like the Nike switch, just do it. Don't put intentions, don't put emotions, don't put thought into it. It save you a lot of headache. It save you from attaching yourself. It save you from getting hurt. It save you from feeling insignificant. And a lot of people fuck with you and learn from you. But once we put these attachments, we become our parents again, and we kill this repetitive cycle we're going through. We're here to evolve the earth, evolve the universe, evolve the galaxies. We're part of it. We're all connected. But we don't know what to do because we're letting something lead us, and we're following the pyramid scheme, trying to be like them with insignificance and emotions. And how we're going to survive is the fire underneath your ass to keep your rocket shooting straight up into nothing. So sometimes you got to allow yourself to suffer, get burned, because you don't know what's the ancestors' lesson. And most of the time, it's just a wake up. Wake up first before I give you this million. Wake up before I give it to you. Because being rich is not inside your pocket, it's in your mind. A person can have no money today, but he's rich in his mind. But a person can have a lot of money, but he's poor in his mind. The one with the money that's poor in his mind is going to run out of money. You know he's going to eventually be broke. You're going to fuck it up. But the one that's rich, you give him $1 and come back in a year and he got millions or thousands. That's how life works. But you have to be able to make the sacrifice. So let's bring it back now to what happens when you die. How does this all influence? Like I told you, the moment you get shot, the moment that euphoric feeling comes, there's a level of pain you're going to feel before all pain go away. The same thing. When you're fighting somebody, you don't feel the pain till you get home the next day or 2 days later when your adrenaline settle down. So that's what comes over you when you die. You understand? So Once you pass that now, you get to go through all the reflections of yourself. Then you go through what you believe you are. Then after you break all those and you could hold your capacity to be nothing, you ascend up to spirit level where you get your spiritual advisor. You become a spiritual advisor, meaning you help the earth. You're everywhere at one time, and you're doing only what your demons is higher than all of this because they're the one who's going to bring you up each level. They watching you now. When you're ready, they unlock things on you. They're called the cherubims in the book of Daniel, that he said, between the clouds and the ark. You know, when they have their wings open, they say you see air, you see sky. But when they close their wing, you see the gods. It's like a hidden world or parallel world is hidden underneath their wings if they want to show you what's going on. So on that note, they the ones who observe to see if you're ready to go to the next level. So they're your spirit guides, but you're the head of them. You told them to remember and remind you who you are so you don't get caught up. Remind me I'm a God. So they're here to fuck with you in your dreams. Fuck with you till you remember who you are. Till you could. Sometimes your nightmares be so scary you don't want to go to sleep. A lot of us is in sleep paralysis. Things is talking to them because you're here to be reminded to how to move out your body. You have two parts to you. You physical walking around, but you could actually leave your body. This is why it's important because the body and the soul is two different things created by two different people. The soul is created by God. That's why it says in the beginning, God created man, the soul. It doesn't say God created man, the flesh or the body. Now, the flesh is created by Satan. What we call Satan is not what we see in media. This is called Oduduwa, or what we call God of the Black. Black being matter. Something in matter created biology. So biology and spirit is two different things. So they're not against each other. They work together. But you have to acknowledge that. You can't think you have two forces that's against each other. So you got a God of the body. Give thanks to him for giving you life. He makes the matter, the material things. It's feminine in nature, just like everything that is in matter is feminine. Spirit is masculine in nature because everything first has to have an opposite polarity. So it's the yin and yang symbol, white being spirit, black being matter. Matter being the physical world. The physical world is controlled by Oduduwa, which is also come down to Set. In our Bible, they call him Satan, and that's why they said the body goes to the flesh goes to Satan, or circumcise yourself from the flesh. Let your consciousness come out of your body part because you're the soul. So when you start your journey, you're going to see two creatures. You're going to see God the creature, and you're going to see Satan the creature. If you stay in yourself, you're going to go to one side with Satan because that's for the body. The body go through it. It has its own karma. But you, the soul, is pure light. You're supposed to go only towards the light. But that God ain't going to tell you nothing. He's going to be hidden in it to see who you are. What's your choice? What you're going to do. That's what the whole moon underworld, the Tuwa, is about. And what we call weighing of the heart is weighing what you're going to do. It's not going to tell you, no, this is right, this is wrong. Because you could be from the moon. You're the one that make the moon there. One of y'all, all of y'all, a couple of y'all got the moon there. And don't know that you're the God moon. And so that's your destiny. You're not going no further than that because you made that there. Some of us is the stars. Some of us is the sun. Some of us is in the air as demios. Some of us is helper spirits. Some of us is in charge of the water. Some of us is in charge of the tree spirit. You don't know who you are till you're weighing up your heart and you end up where you belong. You're capped off. You can't go no higher. You can't perceive nothing else. You don't have no more spiritual helper to help you. And that's where you belong. That's who you is. That don't mean nothing. You still is a being that could come here, go there, go there. But when you in your nature, your natural self, who you are, what you stand for, this is where you belong. It's a lot of people here that joke a lot, laugh a lot, always clowning. They're with the muses. There's an elemental spirit that control the fairies, the trees. They're fairy spirits. These incarnate into human beings. You know, when you hear stories, human beings have sex with entities and don't know it, impregnate them and give them a biological body over thousands of years, and they're here in the form of all types of flesh looking human, but you don't know what's underneath it. That's why they have the weighing of the heart. Remember that it's not something to put you in hell. It's not something to change you. It's something that's gonna tempt you with your own mind. They put you in darkness and show you nothing, and you picture and show everything that you are, your true self. And then they leave you and show you what you are. That's all they do. There's nothing else going on. It's what you became. They're gonna show you what you became. But you don't have to stay that way. It's up to you to change it. All right, cool. Let me read some of these questions. I think we got a good understanding. Universal content. Thanks for the PDF. But my question is: are the lords of karma real? If so, are we not to go into the light? They project onto us, and the true light comes from within us. Yes, everything you said so far, right there. Hold on, let me just check again. Thanks for repeating. My question is that are the lords of karma real? All right, yeah, that's what we. This whole talk we just talked about was about the lords of karma, and not only is it like a force, but this force could imprint its matrix pattern to show itself in reflection. You know, that's a whole course. You could do a whole course just on reflection alone, and I think I will because it causes us a lot of trouble. Reflection is real, and so the lords of karma keeps us in the tuwa, and we have to go through the wind. It's going into the moon. That's the where the karma is set at. If you could pass the moon, you're on your way out to doing everything. You know, but the moon and the sun work together. They're opposites of what everything is. And you got to realize these opposites reflect in your body. Peep this out. Watch yourself and see if you're a day person or a night person. Do you come out after 5 or do you come out in the morning? Watch yourself to see, do you look at the moon a lot? You love the moon. Everything with you is the moon. You could tell which one you are already. Some people are sun people. You have very few sun people out here. Sun people go through the sun and is into the sun. Moon people is to the moon. You can see them. There's man characteristics and nature to them, I could tell you, but I'm not going to go into that. I just want you to reflect upon yourself. This is about your awakening, you know, and coming to know your true self. That's what it's about. All right, so they're 100% real. And now you said, so are we not to go into the light? That's it. You can't have no choice but to go into the light if you are the light. Remember, we talked and we said what's inside your the center of your DNA. It's light as consciousness, your consciousness. What make you separate from this person and that person is being in the body. But once you leave the body, you become one light. It's the only one light. But you're still conscious within the light. But you could manifest and manipulate it in any way. There's no distance. Everything is instant. Instant. Remember, the light is mind. Mind is what creates everything. If you wanted to make the shirt, you had to think about it. Thought is in the mind. So thought is the speed of what you create, and mind brings it into existence. So when you leave biology, then you leave psychology, which is the moon. Psychology. You learn that that's not who you are. That's your emotions. That's this. So once you leave biology and psychology, what do you have? Just pure mind. I just got rid of your biological. I just got rid of your emotional or light body. That's the way you're gonna deal with that on the moon. Then once you don't have that, you're only your mind, and it's what your mind perceives. Some of us is demons. Some of us is still bitter and hurt. You're gonna relive this over because you have to fix all those to ascend up because it was all a test. Once you realize that, then you will go for higher things. All right, so let's get into. Hold on, let me finish reading. Gabrielle Bedford, peace. Thank you. You know, I love your support. I always appreciate you, Gabrielle. Thank you for always, supporting me. Thank you. I got a lot of secrets coming out. You know, that's one thing too. If anybody is interested in actually starting up some businesses and corporation, what I got going on, I don't even want to speak on it no more because it's like everybody will do it. So, I got some business that could invest into, and I will tell you to donate and keep it going because what I'm gonna do is gonna help a lot of people, and this is what we're missing. So it's like they throwing everything right into the pocket of my hands, and I got y'all. But it is business that could improve and to get human beings better. That's all I say for now. Let me just put it together. But it's going along beautiful. I'm putting together something really, really good for humanity. Okay. LK, my question was in regard to your take about adrenochrome and children sacrifice. What is it about? Whoa, why you gotta ask me that? You see, I'm trying to stay out of that type of frequency. You understand? Because that frequency is popular. I'm not into popular things. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not here for all that. But I am gonna break it down to you because you asked. It's the truth. So let's start off. Here we go. All right, adrenochrome. Adrenochrome. The reason adrenochrome is deep. It's very deep. It's very deep. You know, when we talking about adrenochrome and the kids and sacrificing, you know, this is deep. It's spiritual. It's very spiritual. You know, and I see it in the spirit world. Not no child sacrifice. None of this stuff. None of this stuff. But it's human beings who can't get in the spirit world. They use this to get into the spirit world. They do these things to get into the spirit world, to tap into spirits. Yo, this is crazy. But for y'all to understand, adrenochrome is literally when you scare the shit out of a baby, a child, somebody young. They're pure and innocent. They produce not just adrenaline. They got adrenochrome, but it's done out of fear and torture. It's like a substance that is very, very powerful. It's more powerful than adrenaline. Put it like this: adrenaline is so strong. If you was dying or you was dead, if you was within a good hour, give the person adrenaline, they can't die. They'll come right back alive. Anybody who is dead, you could bring them back to life by giving them adrenaline. So imagine how powerful adrenaline. Adrenochrome is like 1,000 times stronger. So these people use it to take them to other places, like putting on a DMT show and make you can't sleep, bring your heart rate up, astral body double, everything. It's like you go into the parallel world to where entities is at, and you feel superior. Plus, it reverses you. It has the ability to keep you young, and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's like the whole ascension on crack. It's everything. Call it the philosopher's stone. But it's now when we talking child sacrifices, this is what happened. We go back to the priesthood of Ra and all this stuff, and I'm gonna take it there because I could take it further, even more back, and it'll hurt people's feelings because this started from back in Africa with the Africans. To be honest, they started sacrifices first. I wouldn't say child, and I'm not talking the pedophilic stuff because I never encountered that, never saw it in anywhere more than even read about it. But the sacrifice has been going on ever since the beginning of time in reference to the four seasons, in reference to those forces that we're talking about. It's to keep it down, to keep it at its minimum. We look at Africans as primitive when they was documenting them through Flobenius. I'm gonna show it to you too. I got it all here. That they was tying people to the palm trees, and they'll leave them there, and they just rot and become one with the palm trees. It was like every palm tree had a sacrifice on it, or a person tied to it that died. And here go the funny thing: you couldn't go and rescue a person that was being prepped to be sacrificed. They wanted to be sacrificed. It was an honor to be sacrificed. And if you came and tried to be like, come on, let's go, they get the hell off of me. Leave me alone. I want to be sacrificed. So it was an honor to be sacrificed, and they raised them from birth for these sacrifices. So you talking about now just general sacrifice. I'm putting you on to that so you understand. This been going on and it's deeper. Got to do with the gods and all that stuff. and there's two different factions of the gods. Remember I told you, you got the beast on one side of God, and your body go to one, and then your soul go to the other. Well, you got people that sacrifice to the body one. The body one feels all this stuff. It's like doing blood things or rituals. People know these rituals with their period and leaving liquor and fruits for the shit. What do you think it do? What do you think make wind? Wind is real. What do you think water is? These is all spirits. Everything is spirits. Fluid is spirit. So that's why your fluid is called lymph. Lymph and nymph is the same thing, spirit. So they sacrifice to these things. You know the book the Stellar Man. John Bain tells the story of how Moses, who would not how we see it in the Bible, Moses, an Egyptian priest that was initiated. Initiation mean they knew the science of the soul, studied it. Biophysiology was on a higher level. They could probably levitate. They knew everything. They took these books out. So Moses messing with it, and it was the fraternity he was part of was the Fraternal Order of the High Priest, or it was a society of these priests in Egypt. But he escaped now to go do his own thing. His story is now, well, we got different gods in the dark side of the yin and yang side, Odudwa. She transcends everything to your physical body. It's all her. Everybody got her in them too. And so now they start praying to these. That's your Bel, your Enki, your Enlil, your Anu, your every god that you see. That even Jehovah with the the Jews and everything, compared to Bel, which is the Akkadian version of Jehovah, which is saying Ra Marduk. You got to realize it's the same people with different names. So they were worshiping this one force. But now there was these Africans called the Theban that worshiped something higher because their knowledge was higher. They only could worship what they could see. That don't mean you're seeing the top or you're seeing God. Everybody perception or generation see one level higher than the last generation. You understand? So the Theban see the highest, which is called the world soul. The world soul is the universal soul, the universal consciousness. They took that universal consciousness and was calling it Yahshua or Yashu, which became our Jesus, the universal consciousness, the Christ consciousness. So they're doing rituals to it, as it is written in the book of Numbers, where you hear Moses start throwing blood on the altar, throwing blood on the people. Well, this thing that he was feeding, and this is in Stellar Man. I'm not making this up. You can read for yourself, and it's also in a whole bunch of old Egyptian texts too. Is that he didn't know the force that he was dealing with, and put Kali in the earth and got the earth spirit that was Mother Nature kicked out, like floating freestyle in astral space, while we got this Kali shit here causing the destruction that people have to do sacrifices to. That's why we have holidays. They make you go home and do your little ritual to it by not making you work. That's what Sabbath is. Sabbath is Sabbadoth. Sabbadoth is a demon. There's no Sabbath. That's the day of Sabbadoth, the demon. So everything come from demon. All the Muslim shit is demon. Demon is African is demon. They call Jamaicans Arawaks. Arawak is as an Arabic word for demon. I'm gonna show you all the Chaldean is a word for demon. Everything is twisted around. Every football team is the name of a demon. Believe it or not, every state is the name of a demon. I could show you how everything is twisted and we don't understand it. So once you realize all this, then you realize there's something else that you have to learn. Something is being twisted around on us and we don't know what's going on. So they do these rituals, these sacrifices to these things to keep them off of them and keep them on you. By them doing that, they stay rich and stay good. And you stay fucked up, and it's your energy, your sex energy, your anxiety energy, your fear energy, your worry energy that these forces feed off of. So now, how child sacrifices get into this? child started coming into this because they found out that they could transfer a soul from one body to another body. So they started fucking the kids in the ass and putting them under trauma to make them disassociate. You got to compartmentalize the ego, the sub egos. So it's simple to do. If you had a baby, we do it all day. Let me show you how we do it. When you have a baby, this is how it really works in life. It's like the baby's like a computer. It only know you're the loving mother, and it only have that one program. You, the smell, the look, loving mother. Put down my guards. You yell at the child. Yo, 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 what you did that? The child split. He don't see you the same person. He see you as a threat now. So now you're not loving mother. Even though now you're rocking him in the arm, the split is there, not the first him. The split is watching you because it's going to take all the trauma you dish out because it don't trust you. So now say it's the second one. Now you beat the child. Blah, blah, blah. After you hit the child don't trust. The second one don't trust you no more. A third one who took the pain and the beating come in this place. Now it switches between the three depending on the circumstances you under. And so now you have these splits, or what we call compartmentalization of one person through trauma, which is a form of PTSD. This is just your normal. Another way you can see it is the government use it in waterboarding people, compartmentalizing them to make them tell the truth, then reprogramming them, giving them as a CIA operative or making them one of them, then make them forget and then send them back like you're free now, go home. Then at a certain time they snap a finger or click something, play a song, a phone call, and he remembers and record everything they want. Then he forgets about it. Then when they hit him again, he outputs back everything they want to him, and he don't even know he got this in him. This is what's called splits. This is how a doctor, or a psychiatrist who was getting a whole bunch of these people coming, they started having breakdown in their split. It's like compartmentalized parts of your brain. And they started actually remembering some of them being tortured, raped, and actually abused by not just their parents, but by other outsiders. And this started a big investigation when he started putting them on post hypnosis. He started hypnotizing them, and they started remembering. This now started a big investigation into the government, and that's when the MK Ultra program got uncovered, and a whole bunch of other bullshit came. But what they had done was learn how to compartmentalize a human being, make him into an agent that don't know he's an agent, and go and do something, come back home, and don't remember he did it. That is a regular. I could give you, there's a woman named Susan Ford. You could look up Susan Ford. The story of Susan Ford was one. And there's another few of them that was actually whistleblowers upon this. So now when you look into it, the basic concept is these people are born into families who do it. This is not something new that just occurred now. This been happening, and it's passed on from generation to generation because these people that do it have a certain kind of DNA. It affects people with their mitochondrial DNA. So if you have a certain DNA, you have a psychic connection that actually make it easy to compartmentalize your brain. And so by them traumatizing you as a child, dropping you, making you sleep in a box, having anal sex with you, they break your soul, your spirit disassociate, everything disassociate from you. And for that minute while that person is malicing you, you're not yourself. So he could put suggestive thoughts and post hypnosis into you while he's doing it. Now, that's just one way. A lot now, like the rich, they actually do murders. They kill themselves while they're having anal sex with a young boy, a teenager, and their soul transfer into the boy after they spent lots of time with him, giving them the spirit, putting them together, setting them up. They do a sexual transfer by violating him, and that compartmentalization push his soul in there, so they continue it, and that's why they do a lot of that too. So don't think that this don't exist, but the child is very important because these children is going to be the future presidents, the future governors. They put them there, such as Anderson Cooper. All of these people already was being tortured to be set to be these entities, these things that they put in them, living in the physical body, but don't actually know what they are, but they go psychologically crazy. From Cat Williams to Michael Jackson to Eminem, all of them got entities in them and don't know it. So these things got them fucked up someplace. They all talking, they scared. You don't see it. Illuminati do it. You know how I know this. Let me tell you how easy why this is facts. Out here where I'm at, there's no money. The system caps off the people and keep the money. The government gets funding from the United States. Jamaica is United States. It's no difference. They got them in their pocket. But what happened is they don't fund the money down to the people. So the people is so much in poverty, they'll do anything for money. So what the government do, they make big hotels, set up hotels. And the people who own the hotel is homosexuals. The executives is homosexuals. And what they do, they get the young island kids or the people that's from third world country that's beautiful, young in age, to work in these as bus boys, waiters, and then the corporate people come from different countries, solicit money to them because they're broke as fuck, to have sex with them, to do things with them. All these island people has been in more provocative, sexual, freaky shit than most Americans because this is where they leave their country to do their dirt. They do it in these third world countries set up by a hotel owner, residential places, all these hotels you see in other countries, that their main purpose is not to bring Americans there and actually make them have a good time in that country. No, it's for corporate people to come and have sex with the employees who they hand pick. By the time they 23, 24, they're getting rid of them because they too old. So nobody really get a job or have anything going until they're between 17 and 23. And they're picks for pedophiles and rapists. They have fake Blue Cross and missionary out here. And they taking the kids, soliciting them money to do all these things out here. So I'm telling you from experiencing it, and not just telling you from seeing some stuff on the internet. And not only do they do that, they know how to bring up their demons, their spirit, and can send them out to hotels all over these islands and attack people at night when they're sleeping. People out here is scared to sleep. They sleep with lights on. They sleep with crosses. They sleep with all type of stones and garlics in their pocket. Because why? The Illuminati is vampires and is feeding off of them still at night. And what do? They stay in these hotels, these residential areas, and do this. I noticed. I've been in plenty of places where is lawyers and judges and all that shit, and they see me coming and hide everything, and everybody move, and they be like, "No, he's cool, he's good, he's good." So what I'm telling you is facts. It's third world countries is the playing field for pedophilianism, for all the nasty shit that's going on in the world. There's no such thing as third world countries. They want y'all to think that shit so that they could use it to do the nastiness they're doing. They feed and test their vaccine on us. They make up third world country. There's no such thing as third world country. There's no such thing. People need to look in there and tell the government to give the people the money. These places don't have one sweatshop. They don't have one factory. It's like, wait, y'all government doing this to y'all on purpose. Nah, they have no education and they're only in survival mode, and they keep them that way so that homosexual executives could come down here and solicit money to them and they'll take it for anything. That's the truth. Ain't too many people gonna tell you. So what they doing with these little kids is dead serious, and that's how they get off. So aside from them using it mostly for the drug and to get themselves to go into the spirit world and to do all the things that I'm telling you about, that's why they took it down to the child sacrifice level before it was anybody they were sacrificing, because I said this was in Africa, but they didn't sacrifice kids in Africa. You grew to an adult. Even cannibalism, they didn't even eat the kids. They raised it to a certain texture of meat, to a certain level, till it was old. Nobody had anything to do with kids, nothing. Kids stood with the mother until the child turned 14 or 12 years old. Then he went through the initiation of the soul. Their father would take him into the wilderness, and he'll come back and learn to be disrespectful to the mother. He couldn't respect the mother no more because that's how he proved his manhood. She loved it. It wasn't like she saw him as, oh, you little disrespectful bastard. She saw him as, yeah, he's a man now. But we lost all of these initiations and our what we call it, our crossover into adulthood. We don't have that. You know, we need to go through a ritual just to see what it is to see life and death. I don't care what it is. You have to make that transition for you to respect life. We don't respect life. We talk loose with our mouth. We put more curses on people than actually do anything. So until we understand what life is, we can't just look at it from that role. But for what they're doing with the kids is something that soulless people do to mess with entities and tap into higher forces to do spirit transfer from one person to another. They're using some of them as data chips, like a damn um, iPhone, you know the thing y'all put your memory on by tricking them up by putting these little splits in them. All these people, you see these stars coming up saying how they was raped when they was kids. They don't remember that shit. They fucked them up. They have two personalities, and most of them have what's called a handler. It's somebody that's always in their life that is a handler that keep them. One day they like this and like that. Michael Jackson had a handler. All of them had a handler. I think Michael Jackson's handler was Bob Hope. All these people play with that stuff. Walt Disney and all of these people is the creator of it because they tap into the astral world. You in your other form, when you're on the moon, you're more of a cartoon image, like how your astral bodies are. That's why Walt Disney was able to kill him with the cartoons. He made up cartoons going into the astral world, going into his other body. And he seen that and then drew it into this world. And it's the cartoon world in the astral world is the same way through a perverted world. It's you in your perverted thoughts, your lower perverted self. So these now take on what we call anagrams or archetypes or symbols. So when you see them put it in the Disney thing, and it's probably a picture of a penis in some type of image that we can't see it because it's codified, your subconscious see it because that's your. I told you have a world connected to there. So you now start having these sexual desires or whatever the insignificance because they're sigils in a way. They have a spell on your mind, so you don't know if it's to make you more sexually active, impotent, or whatever the case may be behind the spell. You have to understand that. What we don't understand is from MP3 music to what you watch on YouTube is a sub signal in everything that's programming your subconscious that you can't hear it. Everything you're watching on YouTube is something sending something to your pineal, to your ajna chakra that is fucking with your ajna chakra. I used to have to take a pillow and put it over my TV and peek through it. When my third eye first opened, I used to feel it so intense. I couldn't watch nothing more on YouTube than Sanford and Son. I felt they didn't tamper with that. But anything else I watched, I could feel this nasty feeling like it's trying to come over, and I'm a seer. That's how I tell you everything because I see these spirits. I see these things. Out here in Jamaica, a lot of these women could run it. They can get away from you. Move, move, yeah. And you just see the thing go away. But it look all scary and creepy. But people out here, you do all that light candle, incense. This shit don't do nothing. But as soon as you go, get the fuck out of here and start yelling at it, be like, go ahead. You start moving and I'm like, yo, get out of here. So now when we see it out, you be like, get out of here. And that shit move away. It'll be nothing out here. But it's real. Don't think it's real. Illuminati do it to. They don't do it to y'all in the United States because it'll be a big thing, but they do it to the people out here. So I hope you get a good understanding of why children in a adrenochrome is used. Now, universal contents are like the movie that was Dreams May Come. LK, the Book of the Dead makes sense now. Judgment in Christianity makes sense now. Peace and blessings, wonderful knowledge as always. Yes, Bab Young. Okay, this is why they teach in secret societies. Yeah, unfortunately, That's you join secret societies, but you're not a part of the secret society till you understand what I just told you. Sometimes they'll be testing you and they trying to see if you understand, but you failed the test because you were still in the mundane preacher way, like how we was taught in Christianity and religion. So we missed the point. But the thing to it now, you understand, you were past their simple test is because we was already misled. That's what it was. And if we had the actual ancient books, what we don't have is the knowledge. They leave these books in French, German, and other languages so we don't understand what's going on. And then you have them write these manifesto like how you see um, Ashmel, whatever, from the Freemason talking about we're going to do this to them and we're going to do that to them. We're going to make this happen and we're going to do that because if they do this, we do this. You see, all of that is simple because that's spiritual and they already know what we're supposed to be. We got used to like their way of making us fucked up and we got used to the fucked up way. So when they show us the ascended way, it looks crazy. But let me give you an example. Every movie you watch, like the sis with Will Smith, it's about an ascension of your soul. With him and his son, he's playing Morpheus now, and his son is actually trying to ascend until he overcome his fear, him being in the wilderness. These is like the oldest stories being repeated over. It's the same thing if you watch Dragon Ball Z with Piccolo taking Goku's son on a separate planet and just drop him on there, and he have to fight his way until he becomes this monster, this gorilla with the tail. That's who you are. They're showing you what you're supposed to do, but we don't get it. We watching it like it's entertainment. We slow. So I hope you understand that it's a lot more going on. Um, that is why they teach it in secrets. Yeah, we up to there. Zero frequency. The Nephilim. Peace and love from LK Nephilim. That's what it says. All right. Now let's get into this now real quick. Let's look into some of the Bardo. If y'all want to keep discussing the Illuminati shit, I could break a lot of that stuff down because that shit is simple. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't really push all that bullshit because that's what it is. It's bullshit. But to be honest, all of what we've been taught and what is going on, it's like backwards. What we call, for you to understand how simple life is and this whole process, we've gotten God and we got Satan. All right, before we knew God and Satan, they had only God. Satan is new. Why? Because God had two polarities to him. They knew he was good and he was bad. He was dark and he was light. He was positive and negative. But we took it now and we polarized and made the other side Satan and this side God. But if you remember, it says when God made light, he separated the darkness from the light. I could just say that simple. Remember, one light, but it came with two things, darkness with it. So you will see now the light comes with darkness. Separate them. You got 12,000 years of God or light or 12,000 years of this God of darkness, but it's the same God. They work together like how you have duality in yourself or a battery, you have a positive end and a negative end, but you put them together and you get light. That's how life works. You have the soul and you have the flesh. Yeah, it's one person with two dual personalities. But this only came in after like the 1500s. Before the 1500s, there was no dual God. You remember, it's in the first book how they said when David played a lyre, he said the good spirit of God came and made him play the lyre. But then when the bad spirit of God came in him, so you see God got a good spirit and God got a bad spirit. Later on, they put Satan and all this other stuff in the position of God. So you got to realize, just like you have day, you have night. Same 24 hours, one day. But you have night and day. So don't look at it in how they're trying to portray it in religion. Look at yourself, how you are, how you act. You're him. You're it. You can't be him by reading a book. You're him. So if you see yourself have a dual nature, he has a dual nature too. If you see yourself getting pissed off, he get pissed off. If you see yourself sexually chasing things, he does it too. By you denying those things and putting yourself on a higher level, you evolve him. He's here to evolve. Remember, let me give it to you straight. When everything first came and got created, he didn't like nothing he created. That came out of him, showing you he's not perfect. Everything he wanted to flood and destroy, but he saw only one thing perfect, which was Noah. So he took Noah now and let Noah continue it in the world. So you learn one thing very important there. He couldn't recreate Adam and Eve's situation over and start life over. He had to take something and hold it and say, yo, y'all evolve now. And the more y'all evolve and get better, I get better. Because what he created in the first beginning was just creatures, beasts, and things that was from a source of life. Everything. Don't look at him as no bad or no nothing. Because we're it. Just like our subconscious, with ignorance and darkness, we have fear. Oh, this is going to get me. What's over there? Why is that looking at me? So you just spew in fear. That's creation. You're creating. But that's chaos now. So something comes, which is the light, and organize your thoughts. Well, this is this. Well, this is this. Well, this is this. That's now the light part of it. But the chaos has to be because it's created. It's the matter being created like this, and then you have intelligence organizing it now, making a mathematical equation, notes on a keyboard, symphonies that create forms, shapes, everything. So you get to understand this is what God is and always is. It's only one thing. It's called nature. That was the real name. The name God came from Wudan, from wood. If you look it up, where did it come from? It's a German word, which was Wodan, which would come from wood, which was Odin, which is another story. But you want the true you, your nature, who are you with? Follow yourself because you follow the moon, the emotions and the high tides. You can't control that. Just be yourself. The same thing, the forces of the stars influence on your organs. Just be yourself. It's there to evolve you and let you learn your lessons. But if you say, no, I'm bad, or I'm good, or I'm going to do this, you're missing the lessons. The lesson is just there to teach you and purify you. Don't judge it. There's no judging here. So once you do that, you will be a doer. Stop thinking and be a doer. That's it. That's the main point to it. Alright. So let's get into this reading now so I could get going. So let's pull up the other screen. 1 second. All right. Mm-hmm. 1 second. Okay. All right. Here we go. Let's get to the browser. All right. Downloads. Okay. We're going to go from the Tibetan Book of the Dead to explain some of the processes of the bardo so you could understand it just a little bit more. Before we do, this image right here, look. You see this? This is what we have to realize. This guy here isn't here to help us. This guy here is here to destroy us with this vaccine shit. And this is what the problem is. This is what it's all about. If you don't understand this, then you're going to be a part of the problem. And we have to stick around and stick together and fight all this stuff. Because they're going to put us, like, everything going to get destroyed for us that was. And we're going to be forced in a situation where we have no choice. But if you don't fight back or you don't defend for your kids or your nephews and your nieces, they're going to make their brain useless, that you have to depend on Siri and you don't know what comes after that. So look at that image and realize that man is a motherfucking pedophile. That's a pedophile and he needs to be in prison and he's nobody good. Alright? Let's get into this. The Tibetan Book of the Dead. What we're going to get into from here that's important is the Bardo, so that you could get to understand what happened when you die. Alright? Let me just show a quick little. What this says. Thou shalt not understand that this is a science most profitable in passing all other sciences, for to learn to die. For a man to know that he shall die, that is common to all men, as much as there is no man that may ever live or have hope or trust thereof. But thou shalt find full few that have this cunning to learn to die. I shall give thee the mystery of this doctrine, and which shall profit thee greatly to the beginning of the ghostly health and a stable fundamental of all virtues. So this is pretty much is going to give us a basic how to die. And once you learn this, you'll be straight. You won't be having fear. You'll be courageous, and with courage you can't die. It's something, when you learn how to die, it's the process of learning you can't die. And once you learn that, nobody could do anything to you, because it's you see something being done to you that makes something get done to you. A dog can't bite you unless you see yourself getting bitten. So to learn to overcome fear is you have nobody there that's ever going to try anything on you, because they sense fear. They're only going to do what they sense you expect them to do. Okay, let's bondage to birth. Let's look at this. It says, a man's desire is so in his destiny. You see that? Desire. I speak to you about this word, that it has so much to do with your soul. It's the cockpit, the driver of your soul, this word, desire. So that's why you're going to see it in such ways. So a man's desire is so is his identity. For as his desire is, so is his will. And remember, we speak up on this. I tell you, your desire is your will. And as his will, let me highlight this, is so is his deed. And his deed is so is his reward, whether good or bad. So if you take the time now and break this down, because everything, sometimes you read it fast, and that's the thing, we think we got it, and we don't. But these is laws. Desire, I'm going to put you on, leads to destiny. For your desire is your will. That's what it's telling you. And your will is where you're going to do your action, your deed. And your deed is either going to be your karma of reward or karma of something else. But whether it be good or bad, that's how you work. Remember that. Watch what you desire. Okay, so a man acteth according to the desires to which he clingeth. So remember that. A man acteth according to the desires of which he clingeth. So you could tell where your friend is at by what he's clinging to. You could check him. G-check his ass. Or her. After death, he goeth to the next world, bearing his mind the subtle impressions of his deeds. That's why I said that's the first thing you're going to think. Well, I offended this, I did this. See, that God shit is going to fuck with you as soon as you step out. And after reaping the harvest of his deeds, he returneth again to this world of action. Does he who have desire continue subject to rebirth? So you see, your thing is to stop coming back here. To go through all of this, man. And look, he returneth again. This is the problem. And thus, he says over here, he who have desire continueth subject to what? This is the most important thing. Rebirth. You think you like it here? If you did, then you would be, this subject to rebirth wouldn't be here. So obviously, you ain't going to know you don't like it here until you leave here. Put it like that. Simple as that. Freedom from rebirth. So now there is something greater. And what's greater? This. He says, he who lacketh discrimination, whose mind is unsteady, and whose heart is impure, never reacheth the goal, but is born again and again. Remember when we was talking and I was just laying it down to you, and I told you about how your mind, you can't get in the spirit world if it's what? This key word, unsteady. You talking a world of mind. And if you over there flicking, going from a square to a circle to a square to a triangle, ain't nobody fucking with you. You gotta be in control of your shit, your desires. And until you get control of that, they say that your heart is impure. Okay, so this is now just a little beginning to say these people know what the hell they talking about. Okay, the message of this book. Um, let's get into the actual bardo now. Let me just look over here on the side. I think it starts here. Okay, renunciation. Get thee away from the lust, from conceit, from ignorance, and from distractions, craze. Sunder the bond, so only shalt thou come to utter end of ill. Throw off thy chain of birth and death. Thou knowest what that means, so free thy crave in thy life. Alright, so basically, they just giving you inspiration to show you that there's more to life than everything. We just get into the table of contents now. This is when we're going to the Bardo Todo. I see this as thought too, so let's get to that real quick. Okay. That's what it is? Okay. One second. I think it starts here. Psychological commentary. Let me see. Alright, let's read this. It says, before embarking upon the psychological commentary, I shall like to say a few words about the text itself. The Tibetan Book of the Dead, or the Bardo Thurdo, is a book of instructions for the dead and dying. Like the Egyptian Book of the Dead, it is meant to be a guide for the dead man during the period of his bardo existence, symbolically described as an immediate state of 49 days duration between death and rebirth. You hear that? 49 days duration between death and rebirth. Keep that in mind. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here. Let me see. Let's go into this. I like to read some commentaries when it be books like this. It gets deep and you get a deeper understanding of life itself. It says, to one of Dr. Jung's most successful disciples, Dr. James Kirsch, analytical psychologist of Los Angeles, California, who has discussed the psychological contemporary commentary with Dr. Jung in Zurich and aided in English translation. Alright, and the book addresses itself primarily on the occultal reading and attempts to describe the important occultal experience and concept in occultal terms. Dr. Jung seeks to facilitate this difficult understanding by his psychological contemporary, and it is therefore unavoidable that in so doing his employ terms which are familiar to the occultal. Well, none of this. On such obligation, the term is soul. According to the Buddhistic life, the soul is imperfect, is an illusion, and therefore has no real existence. The Germanic word seal, you see this word S-E-E-L-E, seele, as employed, is the original German version of the psychological commentary, is not synonymous with the English word soul, although commonly translated. Seal is here is an ancient word sanctioned by the Germanic tradition, used by the outstanding German mystic like Eckhart and great German poets like Goethe to signify the ultimate reality. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. It's a reality. Every one of them is a reality more than just and you going someplace. You are a world and not a person. You're a world. Remember that. Don't think you're a person. So the text falls into three parts. The first part, called Chica Bardo, describes the psychic happenings in the moment of death. And this is what we was talking about, the psychic happenings. And that's what you got to realize. Once you pass the psychic, you're on the higher part, but you're going to have biological happenings and you're going to have psychic happenings to deal with first. And it says the second part of Chia Bardo deals with the dream state, which supervenes immediately after death. But I told you, you're going to go into a state of contemplation. And this is the course called the dream state, which immediately after death. And when what we call karmatic illusions, you see, remember I told you start going back into your karma, you start visualizing, you can't help doing that. Well, this is the part I was talking about. You know, I never read this, but I just know this stuff. It says, not this beginning part, I read the other part. The third part of Sipta Bardo concerns onset of the birth instruct and the paternal events and its characteristics, the supreme insight and illumination, hence the great possibility of attaining liberation as perceived during the actual process of dying. Soon afterward, the illusion begins, which eventually to reincarnation. The illuminative lights grows ever fainter and more multifarious, and the visions more and more terrifying. You see this? And remember this, and the visions more and more terrifying. I told you they ain't gonna let you stay in the moon and think you chilling. Even it's better. You're gonna think you're on a better earth, but it's gonna get fucked up after a while and scared the shit out of you to get you out of there. And if you don't get out of there, the end result is no return. You understand? So I'm putting you on. There is a point of no return. I don't want to bring it up in these lectures, but you don't want to keep doing that because everything has an end game too. Seriously. All right. The descent illustrates the estrangement of consciousness from the liberating truth as it approaches nearer and nearer to physical rebirth. So this is the key to it, liberating truth. You have to come to the truth of life. You ain't here to learn nothing else. That's why Jesus said, I am the what? The truth. It's about that only. So it's not about good or bad, and that's why we wind up missing when we shoot our arrows. We trying to be good or bad. Just be yourself. You're here and designed for a purpose. Do it. You don't have to change yourself. You are already dated out. You can't change your destiny only if you want to make your life in the spirit world more difficult. The purpose of the instruction is to fix the attention of the dead man at each successive stage of delusion and entanglement of ever-present possibility of liberation, and to explain to him the nature of his visions. The text of the Bardo is recited by the Lama in the presence of the corpse. I don't think I could better discharge my debts of thanks to the two previous translators of the Bardo Theo, the late Lama Kazo Dwawap Samwap or whatever, and even Dr. Evans once, then by attempting with the aid of psychological contemporary to make the magnificent world of ideas and the problems contained in the treaties a little more intelligible to the Western mind. So this is the problem. We don't understand it. Without this book, we wouldn't understand that. Because you see how it says the Western mind, it's a different type of psychology we have here. And so, I see something with God here I would have liked to read, but I'm going to pass it and get into the book now. We just reading the commentary. Let's get into it. Let me see where it starts at. Okay, this will be the beginning. Introduction forward. God damn, I get y'all. They're making sure we get all the little concept. Forward, science of death. Alright, let's do son. This guy here is a great guy, Sir John Whittoff. He wrote all the Tantra books. So it's good to see he's over here too in the Tibetan Book of the Dead. So I'm pretty sure he invested a lot of money and time. He's also called Arthur Avalon, into helping us wake up, at least taking the Sanskrit books, because Europeans translated it into religious books and we got lost. But he tried to bring it back the Sanskrit version so we could get a good understanding of what it's about, which is biophysiology, not actually, religion and good and bad. The science of death strives after the good before thou art in danger, before pain um, musters thee and thy mind loses its keenness. The thought of death suggests two questions. The first is how may one avoid death except when death is desired, as in death at will. The avoidance of death is the aim when hatha yoga is used to prolong present life in the flesh. This is, in the Western sense, a saying to life, but for the time being to particular form of life. Dr. Evans tells us that according to popular Tibetan belief, no death is natural. This is the notion of most, if not of all, primitive peoples. Moreover, physiology also questions whether there is any natural death in the sense of death together, mere age without lesion or malady. The text, however, in the language of the renouncer of fleshly life the world over, tells the noble born that death comes to all, that humankind are not to cling to life on earth with its ceaseless wandering in the worlds of birth and death, samsara. That's what they call, if you keep wandering in this world, they call it samsara. Rather, they should they should implore the aid of the Divine Mother for a safe passing through the fearful state following the body's dissolution, and that they may at length attain all perfect Buddhahood. See, they give you a great example of who Oduduwa, we call her Set, Isis, whatever, Divine Mother. And so you have a Divine Mother, and in the Jew world too. Don't think the Jews didn't have it. Her name was Shekinah. That's supposed to be God's wife, Shekinah. If you Google it right now, you see God had a wife named Shekinah, and they took it out. This was in the Zohar. All right, so you see, you got to tap into the Divine Mother. The second question is then how to accept death and idol. It is with that we are not concerned. Here's the technique for dying. Make death the entrance to good future lives. At first out of, and then again in the flesh, unless and until liberation, which is called nirvana, what you want, liberation. From wandering. Wandering is called samsara, is attained. So we're wanderers right now. That's why they call us Abraham. Abraham is really the wandering star. It's a star wandering, and you're the wandering star. All right. This book, which is extraordinary interest both as text and introductions, deal with the period longer or shorter according to the circumstances, which commence immediately after death, ends with rebirth. In the Buddhistic view, life consists of a series of successive states of consciousness. The first state is the birth consciousness. The last is the consciousness existing at the moment of death, or the death consciousness. The interval between the two states of consciousness, during which the transformation of the world to new being is effected, is called the bardo, or immediate state. So you know now, the bardo is the immediate state, or atarabhava, divided into three stages called these words right here, which I'm not even playing myself and try to sound. I'm not that from that country. This manual, common in various versions throughout Tibet, is one of the class amongst which Dr. Evans once included in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, a guide for those to use in Ka, or so-called double, the Dieter Morsindi, and after similar medieval treatises on the craft of dying, to which may be added the Orphic manual called The Descent into Hades. So you understand now, Orphic is a manual on how to die. The Book of the Dead on how to do this. You got to learn how to do this. You can't be scared because you become a predator to your victim, the person who's going to do it to you. So you got to know when it's time, you got to be prepared. Don't be trying to resist. Do the damn thing and go to them worlds. You're coming right back anyway. So that's what it is. So the Orphic Manual, the descent into Hades, he descend into hell, and other like guidebooks for the use of the dead, the Purkarashanda of the Hindu Gravada, whatever these are. I'm not trying to play myself because I don't speak that language. And several other eschatological books, which both ancient and modern. See eschatology, Google that word eschatology and see what you come up with. And you see, these people been here long to be able to do eschatology. You have to be on the earth for a whole rotation around the Milky Way to write out the cycles of life to do eschatology. Now, thus the Guada Pura deals with the rites used over the dying, the death moment, the funeral ceremonies, the building up by means of pyro whatever rites in a new body for the. You hear that? This is the part for a new body, for the preta or descent into Layu of that destroyed by fire, the judgment, and thereafter the various states through which the deceased passes until he is reborn again on earth. So you going through all this shit just to be reborn again. But all this up here is gonna make you look into yourself and see what you did and chalk it up. It's like you're gonna chalk up everything you had did in your life and go through the cycles of karmatic backwardsness, and then you come back and do it again and fix what you did. So you gotta be careful. You think this is not real? Black people wrote this shit. They was the ones that was here. The Egyptians and all these people that did a cycle around the Milky Way to do eschatology. The Egyptians is the only people that have knowledge that is over 700,000 years old. So it's like they did the damn thing. Alright. The text has three characteristics. It's firstly a work, the art of dying for death as well as life, and is an art. Although both are often enough muddled through, there is a Bengal saying on what use are tapa and tapas, two forms of devotion. Alright, let's get to the beginning now. That's still forwarding we're doing, remember. Because I want to show y'all some other stuff real quick too. I don't want to stay in here and read this whole book to you. I just wanted to introduce you to it so that you could go and see if you're interested in do it yourself. I think this is the Bardo Theo right here now. Let's get into it. As a contribution to the science of death and the existence after death and rebirth, the Tibetan Book of the Dead. This introduction is the most part based upon and suggested by explanatory notes which the late Lama Kazi Dawa Sampwa, the translator of Bardo Theo, dedicated to the editors, with the translation making up shape and Gangtok skim. The Lama was optional that his English surrendered. Well, I don't want to learn about the Lama. I want to get into this. Oh man, this is still intro. Pardon me, y'all. This is the longest intro book in the world. 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay. Let's see how far we go before we get the first chapter. See, I'm at page 54. We still on the intro. The higher rebirth. Okay. I think we passed the intro now. Okay. Alright. You know what? This is taking pretty long. Okay. What's this next page? Mm, what is this over here? Okay. Is this it? Okay, let's see if it starts here. To the divine light, to the divine body of truth, the incomprehensible bound. Hold on. The introduction, the great doctrine of liberation by healing, which confirmeth spiritual freedom on devotee of ordinary wit, while in the immediate state have three divisions: the preliminaries, the subject matter, and the conclusion. At first, the preliminaries, the guide series for emancipating beings, should be mastered by practice. The transference of the consciousness principle. By the guide, the highest intellects ought most certainly be liberated. But should they not be liberated, then while in the immediate state of moments of death, they should practice the transference which give automatic liberation by one's merely remembering it. So you see something going on here. You got the transference of consciousness. Remember we talked. Oh no, we didn't. Yo, I know this ain't just jump all the way to the beginning after we just scroll down like 100 pages just to find that damn thing, and I don't remember. Yo, maybe it's not meant for us to do. Let me see if I could get it back real quick, y'all. But we talking about the transfer of consciousness, right? So you seeing it's possible that a person could do consciousness transfer. If you don't, you'll be stuck in the situation. So it's the same thing like what they do in the Illuminati and all that funny stuff they're doing. They know all this stuff. And once you know all this, then you understand there's more going on than meet the eye. You know, for some reason, I don't think it's meant for me to read this thing to y'all or show it to y'all. Seriously. And I'm not going to keep looking for it. So I think everybody going to have to go and read the book for themselves. Because I'm going to go here. If I don't see it back, I'm going to continue. Yeah, I lost my page. And I'm not trying to stay up on this. Because it's a good book. It gets to the point. But right now, what I want to show you is like it's not cooperating. Alright, so let's get this going. Read the book. I'm going to show y'all something else. This is what I want to get into. Alright, we're going to start here. Y'all know this guy right here. This the guy that started Black Lives Matter right here. This guy here, he's responsible for a whole bunch of other shit that's going on. I just want to show y'all because we be thinking Black Lives Matter is a black thing, but it's owned by a white racist person that brought it into existence. You know, so I just wanted to make y'all see all these little things that they here to deceive us with that we think is a part of us. Alright. One second. Alright. I want to show y'all. Hemoglobin, you see up here, hemoglobin is a chemical substance containing iron and is capable of combining loosely with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin, which has a bright scarlet color, purple. This compound can easily give up its oxygen. This is why we can't breathe. You see, this compound can give up its oxygen and become hemoglobin again. Hemoglobin therefore acts as the oxygen carrier of the body. So you see, read this right here. Hemoglobin therefore acts as the oxygen carrier of the body. In the lungs, it absorbs oxygen and becomes oxyhemoglobin. And this oxygen is carried to parts of the body to aid the combustion of fats and carbohydrates. and proteins taken into the body as food is required. The hemoglobin of the blood is also capable of forming let me say that right. The hemoglobin of the blood is also capable of forming a much more capable compound with carbon monoxide. You see this? This is where we can get oxygen at. It says the hemoglobin of the blood is also capable of forming a much more stable, this was the key word, much more stable compound with carbon monoxide gas, right? Now, why is this important is that, as you can see, it says present CO2, a gas which is inevitable present in coal gas and in the exhaust gases from the internal combustion engines like those of motor cars or airplanes. This power of combining with hemoglobin causes carbon monoxide to act as a powerful poison because it deprives the body of oxygen. So if you didn't know, hemoglobin is what brings oxygen through your body. And not only do it do that, you have to worry about the amount of CO2 or carbon monoxide in your community, because more than likely your own hemoglobin or your own blood is going to bond to this CO2 before it bonds to oxygen. It don't like oxygen. How you got a body that don't like oxygen and prefers CO2? Mm. All right. Before I move on, I see the comments. Let me see what y'all saying real quick. Okay. Let me see. How does eating garlic affect the body? All right. How long was the taken and what effects did it experience? All right. Um, Garlic now. Garlic affects the body. You can't even lie about that. Garlic is an acid. Garlic, you could take garlic and burn through things by just rubbing it on something. You know, originally, garlic was not supposed to be ingested into the body. It's like recently we got into like actually using garlic as a table food. It was only used as external because I think it's glycemic acid. It's an acid. So, garlic, we use it, but I'll use it in moderation as far as, only using it for the seasoning part of it. But you can damage your internal insides because of what it is. It's glycemic acid. It's a very powerful acid. All right. Now, I wanted to show you this guy. This is from Mike the Ranger. You know, Mike Adams. He also do biochemistry, and he checks some foods out, such as cat treats, fish-based dog treats, and he find that they put a little over the amount that is supposed to be of mercury, and not just sample foods, but a lot of foods that we eat, they put things in there to kill us on purpose. And so he says it's over 10 pp of tungsten and rice protein products. Is over toxified beyond the normal levels that is supposed to be recommended to, serving amount. And the same thing is lead in ginkgo herb products, 11 pp lead in magnesium. What is this? Mangosteen powder, over 400 pp of lead in coca powders. I mean, these things we don't really use, but my point is this. We don't know what's in the products of the food they're giving us. You have to be careful what you're putting in your body. You can't trust no corporation. See if you could go natural and do it yourself. You see over 500 pp of lead or more than 2,000 pp of cadmium in rice proteins. Over 6 pp of arsenic, that 1 pp of lead in some spirulina. A lot of people use the spirulina and don't know that they putting lead and arsenic in it. Mercury in dog treats, lead in brand name mascara products. So I'm just putting you on that. Don't just take everything for face value you buy from corporations and supermarket and think that they're here to help you. They're not here to help you. Alright? Now, I want you to understand how your mind works. You could be here in this world, and if you don't have this word, then you're not activated. Cognition is what's activated. If you read what cognition is, it's saying the operation of the mind by which an organism become aware of objects, thought, or perception. It includes the mental activities associated with thinking, learning, and memory. So a lot of us is moving and operating, but we don't have no cognition, and people is being our cognition for us and explaining things for us. YouTube is a lot of people cognition. It says cognition is the mental action or the process of acquiring knowledge and understanding through thought. You see this word right here? This is the key thing to this. Through thought. Not too many people have the time to sit down and ponder on their thoughts and experience and sense. It encompasses processes such as knowledge, attention, memory and working, memory, judgment and evaluation, reasoning and contemplation, problem solving, decision making, comprehension. This is what happens when your chakra is active. You could be here and don't have cognition. And that's what a lot of people need to grasp the concept of what is cognition and what that has to do with them. You understand? So I'm running through these so that you get a good understanding of things we're not. Let me see what this one is. Hold on. All right. Over here, to give to each nation its own type of medicine, the therochasm best suits to it. It is behold, for I can well realize that my prescription may turn out to be ineffectual among foreign nations, and that foreign recipes may turn out to be ineffectual in our nation. This is to say, I write for Europe, and I do not know whether Asia and Africa may profit by it. Now, this is a very, very important statement why I kept this. You know why? Because somebody told the truth. The truth is what is prescribed by doctors for one group of people might not work for another group of people. Nobody admits this except for this guy right here. This, I think, was Paracelsus. I took this out of his book. He goes to tell you to give each nation its own type of medicine. So where's our medicine? Ask yourself that question. Where's the American medicine? You can't have European medicine. Okay. To give each nation its own medicine, these theorem best suited to it, it is behold, for I can well realize that my prescription may turn out to be ineffective amongst the foreign nations. So certain things is not going to work for us. And that foreign recipes may turn out to be ineffectual in other nations. It's the man that discovered hydrogen is saying this. So what's the point to what I'm saying? The point to what I'm saying is we're not getting none of this. You know what he means by nations and their medicine? Wherever you're indigenous to, whatever herbs and trees grow in your area, that's the medicine of your nation. Not something you buy from a pharmaceutical store. That's synthetic medicine. But if you was getting real medicine, if you was African, you'll have to get your medicine from Africa. Asian from Asian. American from America. Not America pharmaceutical companies. American trees and herbs. Okay. I hope you understand that. Okay. Here. This is from the Upanishads, The Secrets of Meditation. And, you know, it's an important part right here I wanted to bring up. The philosophy is linked between the known and the unknown, between science and religion. Philosophy is totally concerned with the unknown. The moment something becomes known, it becomes part of science. it remains no more a part of philosophy. So the more science grows, the more philosophy is pushed ahead. The field that becomes known becomes science, and the philosophy, is linked between science and religion. So as science progresses, philosophy has to be pushed ahead because it can only be concerned with the unknown. But the more philosophy proceeds ahead, the more religion is pushed ahead because the religion is basically concerned with the unknowable. All right, so you got to understand my point here is very important. You're the philosopher. Your job is to actually bring the unknown to make it known. You're this. Once you did this part, science come in and take over now. Thank you, sir, and thank you for your thing. And they make it known to the people, and the laws is measured, and now it's something. But sometimes, why I say this now, why this philosophy is important, you get some of the greatest thoughts, some of the greatest inspiration, some of the most realest things in your thought process. And we dismiss them because we're not philosophers, we're not taking it serious, we don't write it down. And it's the beginning of science. Without philosophy, there wouldn't have been no science. So I just want you to understand, thinking out the box is the unknown. Once you figured it out, it become known. Science pick it up. That's what we're here to do. So don't be afraid to philosophize because you're starting a tradition or you're bringing something to the tables that many is going to eventually pick up on it and become like public information or something everybody work on together to branch it out and make it into something bigger. So I just wanted you to understand the philosopher is the key to this. Okay, so this here now is going to explain a little bit about, let me see, the dragon. The so-called dragon is an invisible being. All right, this is from Paracelsus, the guy who invented hydrogen. He tells us the so-called dragon is an invisible being which become visible and appear in human form and cohabitates with witches. This is accomplished by means of the sperm, which is lost by masturbators, fornicators, and prostitutes in the Acate Vernor, and which such spirits, such as corpus, to obtain for themselves a human form, because the whole of the human form is typified in sperma. And if such spirits use the sperm of a certain person, it is as if one man puts on the coat of another man, and then they have the form of that person and resemble him in all parts and details. So when you ask what is the Illuminati doing, what is going on, do you understand this, what I just read to you? Want me to read it one more time, or you got it? This is accomplished by means of the sperm, which is lost by masturbators, fornicators. These is them perverts. What they do is they get the little boy and do these things to him. And prostitutes, as it says, in which spirits use as a corpus to obtain for themselves a human form. So they're using these little kids, these little sacrifices, to bring spirits into human form. Because the whole of human form is typified in what? Sperma. Do you know what this means? Whole of humanity is typified in sperm? Okay. What you call sperma is light. Light is sperm, sunlight. So it's hard for you to grasp this if you couldn't understand what it is. That's why I said it takes a good breakdown, but you'll get it. Okay. Now, I just wanted to show you that I'm not going to go into this because I'm not here to scare nobody or put everybody in a negative place. We're just here to reveal a few things to you. Hold on. I'm not up to this yet. Hold on. Okay. Now, the source of all good with all our heart, mind, and desire may be sure never to fall into the power of evil, but priestly ceremonies, the sprinkling of water, the burning of incense, the singing of incantations, and the inventions of clerical vanity, and therefore take their origin from the source of all evil. Ceremonies have been initiated originally to give an external form, an internal act. Okay, you see what's going on here? We've been deceived into thinking we doing rituals and ceremonies is channeling God and good spirit. We're channeling evil shit. I'll read it again. The source of all good with all our heart and mind and desire may be sure never to fall into the power of evil. But priestly ceremonies, just going to church, the sprinkling of water, what do you think they do? The burning of incense, what do you think that is? The singing of hymns, what do you think that is? Are the invention of clerical vanity, and therefore take their origin in the source of evil. So we got everything backwards in this world. What we practice in ceremonial cultures and tradition is considered satanic worship, but it looks nice and that we're doing it. He says ceremonies have been instituted originally to give an external form and an internal act. But where the internal power of the performing such acts does not exist, a ceremony will be of no avail except to attract such spirit as may love to mock at our foolishness. Let me see. Another class consists of the incubus and succubus, which rabbinical traditions speak in an allegorical manner as having been created by the spilling of the seed of Adam, the animal man. So you know Adam is the animal man, or Atma is your soul when it's not trained. When you say train the dragon, you still have desires and lusts. You gotta go have sex or you're gonna be frustrated. The animal come out of you if you don't go bust a nut. You understand? You can't live with yourself. So it said, while engaging with Lilith, his first wife. Remember, Adam the animal man engaged with Lilith, his first wife, meaning a morbid imagination. Paracelsus says in his book, De Origine Mortem Invisibilium Lib, imagination is the cause of incubus and succubus and fluidic larvae. The incubi are male and the succubi female beings. They are the outgrowth of intense and lurid imagination of man and woman, and after they take form, they are carried away. They are formed of the sperma found in the imagination of those who commit unnatural sin of onan in that thought and desire, coming as it does from the imagination alone. It is not true sperma, but only a corrupted salt essence, only a seed that enters the organs which nature provided from the development can grow into a body. So you understand? I'm going to go even deeper. The word imagination ought not to be mistaken for empty fancy. It means the power of the mind to form into a substantial image the influence which are actual present. It is here not the question of merely visible and tangible things, but of the products of the mind, which are also substantial, which may become visible and tangible under certain conditions. The invisible body as well as the terrestrial body act each in its own way. That which the visible body performs is done with its hands. The inner man works by means of his imagination and will. The work of the form appears to us real, those of the latter like shadows. Okay, you get it? So, imagination is more realer than you think. When I tell you don't imagine when you're going into meditation, That's what I mean. You don't understand what is going on by imagining. So I hope this give you a good example. What I'm gonna do? I have a few things to take care of. Let me come back on here because I want to organize now. Let me see. Okay, 1 minute. Okay. Let me put this back together. 1 second. Okay, that's good. All right. So in reality now, I don't want to spend too much time on this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start organizing everything into folders and categories, and then we'll sit down and go through them. I got this up and running. Today was alright. Now I didn't find everything I wanted out the Bardo book, which I'm screenshotted now into pages and organize it better. But I'm pretty sure y'all got a better understanding from the talk we had. Let me see if there's any questions after that. I'm gonna just end it for the night, and we pick this up tomorrow on the day shift. I'm gonna come and try to work with y'all, do some energy work. I want to say that I'm doing something different now, and whoever want to get down with like some um meditation, some work into energy work, I'm gonna be doing some Zoom, you could say one-on-one video chats. It could be with groups or whatever, but to actually start the process now of demonstrating the higher energies, the higher being stuff, how to astral project, doing it now with everybody able to say, yo, he's bullshitting or it's real. That's what we're gonna boil down to. No more philosophy and talking. We're gonna get into action and do it. So I'm looking to get together with people to do it. I might just do it in a meditation live and explain to you how to get the energies. But we're going to take this to the next level. I'm not just going to keep throwing philosophy and talk. We're going to actually do the damn thing. So stay tuned. Tomorrow I might come out and do a 12 o'clock meditation with y'all, and we'll take it from there. But look forward to like private Zoom things. I'm gonna be doing Zoom. You could put you and your family or whoever. It might be a fee or whatever to do it, or I might do it free for a while till it build up as a promotion, and then it start paying for itself. But I'm looking to see if whoever is interested, you can inbox me at University of Conscious Science at gmail.com. You can WhatsApp me at 876-294-7297, or you could messenger me on Facebook Messenger at Damian Samuels, DAMEAN SAMUEL, Facebook. So you could get in touch with me. I want to start interacting one-on-one with everybody, just so that you can see for yourself what I'm talking about and give you the motivation you needed. Plus, later on, we're going to do lives with the results and see it. I got a few things I'm going to throw at y'all. So, thank y'all for tuning in. Vibe Rational, what's going on? That's what's up. Everybody else, Mike, LK, thank y'all for your time. I really respect that. University of Conscious Science, one love, y'all.